What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another episode of Tuffy Talk. We are here and we are ready to talk some early 2024 ACC season predictions, but not necessarily more of season predictions in terms of record, but predictions in terms of how we feel that they're going to be at the competing in the ACC, whether they're going to be an ACC contender, whether they're going to be hopefully, looking just to win a game or two in the ACC. We're basically for every single team in the ACC, and that does not include Notre Dame. Again, going to be putting them into a tier list here, as you can see here on our screen. So just to kind of explain here, so we have our top tier, which is AKA we are expecting them to be in the ACC championship game. Now, keeping in mind that it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to pick two. If there's one that we're like, yeah, no, this team is in there, then so be it. If there's three, then so be it. But again, there's necessarily no rules here, and I'll be completely honest here to all of you that I, don't have them necessarily in any kind of set order right now, in my opinion. And I, from talking to Michael and Greg ahead of time, they haven't either. So it's really going to be a discussion, and we're just going to feel it out and see where we feel like these teams belong heading into 2024 ACC season. Keep in mind, this is February, so there's a lot that's going to change.
Spring ball just got started for a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot.
Can I make a point of parliamentary? Are we going to do like this as like a 3-person panel, like we vote? So then if it's 2-1, then that's where they're going to end up, whoever, or does it have to be okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of the fun thing of it. It doesn't necessarily need to be, hard line.
A unanimous decision.
At the end of the day, it's a best guess right now. Let's be real here.
Sure.
So, but again, so our top tier, our tiers are top AK. We are expecting to be an ACC championship contender, meaning we're expecting them to compete for an ACC championship. Average, meaning, borderline 500 in the ACC. Bad, meaning, win a couple games in the ACC. And trash, meaning, maybe 0 to 1 to 2 AC wins, like not expecting much from them whatsoever. Which I'll be completely honest that put any team right now, in my opinion, in a trash category. Like there's a couple, but I'm like, man, that's a tough blow to really, just put in there. But but
it's like why are they even playing this year?
Exactly, but somebody's got to go, and I have an idea here. But anyway, so we have all the teams listed down here below. We'll kind of start off going in alphabetical order, but wherever the conversation takes us, if it moves us to another team that's not in alphabetical order, then so be it. But with that being said, we're going to start off with one team that of three in the ACC that went through a coaching change here this year. And actually, as a quick caveat, we are including SMU, Cal, and Stanford in this as well. Yeah. We have to now. But first one that we're going to be talking about is Boston College, who obviously went through a crazy offseason already with the news of Jeff Hafley, head coach of Boston College, moving on to a role with the Green Bay Packers. And I loved a comment that he made where when he was asked why did he leave for Green Bay, he said, because it's Green Bay, like it's the Green Bay Packers. And it was like, okay, I get that. Yeah. So, but it's interesting, but hey, if that's what he wants, then so be it. But now with the new hire,
that's definitely a topic for another show. Is a head coaching job in the college better than a position coach in the NFL?
Yeah,
that's a good debate topic.
A lot of people don't think so anymore.
Yeah, right. We maybe we should document that, and maybe we'll save that for another discussion episode. I like it. So yeah, Greg. So kind of give it to me. What's your thoughts here of Boston College year one under Bill O'Brien?
Like you said earlier, like you don't want to necessarily give people the trash ranking right out, but I think they're going to be borderline bad and trash. Yeah. I'm feeling generous. I'll go bad.
So generous.
Right. So generous.
Well, because they lost, I think a guy that pretty much started for them or played for them a good bit last year in Emmett Moorhead, who was a redshirt sophomore, and I think that was definitely a blow. And he's actually still in the transfer portal, still undecided.
Yeah, they lost a big offensive guard that they lost. So I don't know how good their offense is going to really be. Like I said, they brought in a transfer wide receiver from Vanderbilt. I don't know how excited you can get by bringing in a transfer from Vanderbilt. Especially if he didn't go to another SEC school. He went to Boston College, which kind of leaves me to why they're a bad team.
Yeah.
And then they got a transfer quarterback from FIU, Grayson James Jr. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on bad right now. I'm because their schedule's not too bad either, but But Michael, any thoughts right now? I think we're leaning towards bad, but
I think that's probably where I would put them. But it's like, with the new teams, you mentioned schedules, like, there's more teams and you can't play everybody, so there's going to be a lot of difference in schedules than previous years. Like if there's a chance you could get 7 bad teams on your schedule in the ACC, and that's less than half now. So that is one thing to keep in mind when we're doing it. But specifically on Boston College, so Emmett Moorhead, that was the guy that beat us in 2022, but I don't think he actually lost the starting job, and they have that Castellanos guy who was pretty good last year. He won him some games, almost beat FSU, but so I think he's back and I think he'll be good. But it's just it's tough to say anything when your coach leaves that late. And then I know, Bill O'Brien's a big name, but it's just like how much can you really put in when you're starting from behind? So,
yeah. Well, and just to clarify too, I actually was wrong with the schedule. That the schedule is actually pretty tough. You start off at Florida State. Ouch. You go to Missouri. You face Michigan State at home. To UVA. To Virginia Tech. Louisville at home. Syracuse at home. At SMU. UNC at home, Pittsburgh at home. It's a pretty tough schedule.
That's actually really tough. Yeah,
that's really tough. So,
yeah, I forgot they actually made a bowl game. They went to the Fenway Bowl, ironically playing against SMU. So they weren't trash and they weren't bad. They were kind of an average team. But with all of that, your head coach leaving, I think they will take a step back.
Yeah. So I think for here, and it can move too. It's not one of those things where once we put a team there, they're locked in. Like if we decide, okay, maybe they're lower, maybe another team was higher than we originally thought, we could do that. But I'm hesitant right out the gate to throw somebody in trash. But I mean, it's definitely a thought. But I'm sticking with bad for right now. Are we in agreement to that?
Yeah,
bad. Okay, cool. All right, so now moving on to another team that is, or I guess our first new team to the ACC. In Cal, which is now Ben Finley-less, so definitely disappointing there that we will not have the Ben Finley versus NC State homecoming. It's at Cal, but that would have, I think all State fans would have been so thrilled and so excited about that opportunity, which now they will not be able to enjoy that.
Yeah,
because where did he go again?
Like Northern Arizona or something, like or I can't remember. I thought it was an Arizona school.
I just remember his graphic was so confusing because it literally had him in a Cal uniform, but then it had like whatever that team's logo, like really small in the bottom right corner, and it was like, wait, is he staying at Cal? But no. So looking at it here, I mean, pretty much all the transfers in. You got a guy from Old Dominion, a guy from Colorado, wide receiver, Notre Dame, wide receiver. Running back from Old Dominion, Cal's in the running for. Yeah, just not a lot of. Well, okay, quarterback. You got a 4-star transfer portal quarterback transfer from North Texas.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, that's solid. And then you got, but
they have a really good running back in Jaden Ott.
Yep. And then they have a transfer wide receiver who was a 4-star out of high school from Utah, who's a freshman named Mikey Matthews coming into Cal too. So not bad for sure. But I also think as well, this is something we got to talk about. But I feel like with the Cal and Stanford teams, we got to keep in mind that now a season for them is going to be much more grueling than most college teams, with them having to travel to the East Coast, 30-40% of the time. Yeah, like that's a lot.
Schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times they're coming to the East Coast.
Oof, that's rough.
Holy
and
smokes.
Then they have a game in Auburn and a game at SMU, so they have 2 more that are on the road, but not all the way here.
Wow.
SMU's not bad, but I mean Auburn's that's far too.
I mean, the SMU trip's a 2.5-hour flight, so not horrible.
That's not bad.
and actually too, I actually meant to bring up too what Vegas had the win totals at as well.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah,
well, I have the odds. I didn't have the win totals. Excuse me. I had the odds of the ACC championship. And by the way, just to close the loop, Finley went to Akron.
Akron.
Yeah, I knew it was an A. I just wrong A.
So Boston College was actually at over under 4.5 wins, with the over being a little bit more favored. So yeah, we might need to consider trash as this conversation goes. But and then Cal's at over under 6.5 wins, with the under being a little bit more favored. So their biggest basically put them at 6 overall, which I'm seeing maybe a couple of wins for them in the ACC, in my opinion. Because, again, this is going to be the first time they're going to do it, too. So, logistics-wise, that the operations team is going to have to, figure some things out to try and make it as easy for the players as possible. It's going to affect practice time. It's going to affect, stamina, just agility, just the whole 9 yards. Because, again, that's a lot, traveling across the country that many times. So, and playing some tough teams in Auburn, have to face us. So it's kind of sad. But I'm kind of feeling, in the bad category once again. But I just don't want it to seem like we're just sticking with bad. But no, I will guarantee you, this next team, if we're going to bring up Clemson next, that's not going to be in the bad category. I can almost spoil alert there. Not going to ruin that. So go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I'm going to give Cal an average.
Cal an average, really? So why are you feeling a little bit better maybe than myself?
Well, I remember just reading, looking through, because I know how heavy we were in the portal, and every time I kept seeing portal rankings, Cal was popping up a lot on the transfer portal rankings. So I feel like, if what the so-called experts are saying, and then they brought back a few pieces of their own, I think they have the makings of some pieces now. Again, like you said, the travel schedule. We'll see how that plays out. But I think they'll be an average team. I don't think they're going to be like an easy out for any stretch of the imagination. I think they'll pull an upset or two in the ACC, especially they kind of want to prove that they belong, if you will. So I think you'll get their best version of them, definitely at least this year.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Michael, what's your vote?
I'm looking at their schedule now. I think that's pretty tough. They're out of conferences at Auburn, San Diego State, who's a solid team, and then they still have a out of conference game against Oregon State that's still on the schedule, which is now non-conference.
No DJU though. They lost a lot of pieces with their coach leaving. So
yeah,
true.
Yeah, I don't know. At the transfer portal rankings, that's a good point. But I probably still put them in the bad category. I can only more towards like Leighton's thinking that first year, all that travel. I just don't think it's going to go well for any of the new schools really. But
yeah, agreed. But again, we'll kind of see as the conversation goes if we decide to move BC or Cal at all.
We definitely have to do another episode of this after the year and see how we did.
I agree for sure. So moving on to Clemson now. Again,
trash.
This is not going to be trash, just straight trash.
Just personal opinion.
Yeah. So Vegas has their over under at 9.5, with actually the under right now being a little bit more juiced. So they're Vegas saying more of 9 and 4. Let's put it this way. Like I think for State, and we're already bringing up State. Shocker, we're in State podcast. We're going to bring up State. I think that it works out in Clemson's advantage 100% that we're going to Clemson. Obviously, if they're coming to State, I think that the outlook of NC State at the AC level and the outlook of Clemson would look different. But I think that definitely plays into their hands. I think it's going to be oh my gosh, it's going to be so exciting with a Clemson versus Florida State matchup with the DJ Uyunglele versus Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to be so sick. I'm looking forward to that game. So, but I also think too, this is kind of a little bit of a, you know, what's up for Dabo Swinney season a little bit. And, you know, like it's just kind of not to say what's up in terms of like your job's on the line or like you're on the hot seat or anything like that. But, you know, obviously a lot of Clemson fans, you know, weren't necessarily thrilled with last year, which, you know, it's kind of funny that, you know, you almost had to kind of bring them down to earth a little bit, reminding them that you remember where you were like 15 years ago? Like you were just like a lot of teams hoping you can get a bowl, you know, go to a bowl game. And, you know, now you've 2 national championships later and you're upset about a 10-win season. So, you know, but, you know, I'm just still not sold necessarily on Cade Klubnik, right? Yeah.
Still there.
I'm still not necessarily sold saying he's at the elite level. That's just kind of my biggest thing. And once again, they do not have a single transfer portal guy either. You know, I feel like we got to put him in the top. I mean, just because.
Yeah, for sure, they're definitely the top. They still play defense.
Yeah, they still play defense for sure. I mean, again, they have a lot of high school talent, but again, I just, you know, they're still not Clemson of old. They're not Clemson of Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. They're still not that, in my opinion.
I definitely think the luster has, you know, or the shine has come off of the Clemson name, the brand. I don't think that, you know, they're not the mighty, scary Clemson. They still get talent. I will be curious to see, you know, how many more recruiting cycles they can kind of carry that name with their, you know, their last couple of NCAA, you know, championships, because eventually that will only, you know, take you so far as looking at that trophy case, because, you know, now kids were like in middle school when those trophies happened, right? And so, you know, those waves and cycles come through, but I still think they're the top. And we'll talk about the other. I think there's only 2 teams in my opinion that are actually in the top, but yeah, I go with top.
Yeah.
Because have we heard anything yet on have we heard anything about Will Shipley yet?
Well, he said he was coming. He declared for the draft, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I think he's
he's taking part in the NFL Combine. So he's gone.
Yeah,
but you know, the other
Moffitt
guy
was better. Yeah,
exactly. Yep, I was going to say the same thing.
And he's coming back, but I personally would probably have Clemson in the contender, not in the top.
Ooh,
I mean,
I'll take.
I just Cade Klubnik. I don't know. It's not.
I agree.
I don't think you can put them in the top without a top quarterback, and I don't think he's one of the top quarterbacks. I think he's top half of the ACC, but you know, I just don't think. And no transfer portal guys, so I don't know. I don't think you can expect Clemson to be in the championship game anymore, because
again, it's not the Clemson of old.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I debated it too, but I still think they're, because we can talk about this. You know, I think we have. There's only so many really top teams in the ACC anymore.
Yeah,
so someone kind of by default has to be in that slot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a good thing because I really do think this year there's a lot of teams that can compete. You know, that I would not necessarily be surprised if they were in the ACC championship game. You know, there's a good handful, which we'll talk about them as we go. But yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Clemson. You know, the schedule works out pretty nicely for them this year. They're still super talented. You know, they still have Dabo Swinney. You know, one of the greatest head coaches in college football right now. Like, yeah, I would feel like we would absolutely get torn a new one if we put Clemson not in top tier, you know, but I agree with you in terms of concerns for them for sure.
And they still have Death Valley, which is one of the toughest places to go play a football game at. And so, you know, when you play half your games there, and if you get the right games at your stadium, you already give yourself a chance. And like you said, we go there this year. So I mean, unless something crazy happens, I think they would even be favored in that game over us.
Yeah. Agreed.
Not that much, but they would be favored.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Duke here. So new head coach and Manny Diaz, you know, former defensive coordinator for Penn State.
Former defensive coordinator for NC State.
Hey, yeah, there we go. Bringing that back. But the biggest news for them has got to be the transfer quarterback from Texas, not
Texas,
Kansas,
yeah.
Texas. Malik Murphy, redshirt freshman quarterback. I think that's the highlight for them for sure. Now they did lose their starting running back Jordan Waters. That definitely hurts, right?
Where did he go?
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
know.
I haven't kept up with them. And then looking at the other transfers as well, nothing really stands out. But then looking at high school commits, 3 stars, no real 4 stars. So, I'm going to say it. Is this our first trash?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's our first trash. Now again, I think Malik Murphy is going to be. I think down the road he's going to be really good, but he's just not a guy that has much college football experience. He's going to be going into a new, new system, new team. Manny Diaz is going to basically be starting from not square one, but again, you just don't have that footing in Duke football. You don't have that footing in Duke football like you do with other big-time college football programs. You just don't.
Yeah.
It's just Duke football.
They did lead the ACC in points allowed with just 19 in a game last year. So, if they can play some defense and kind of keep themselves in. But they did lose their number 1 wide receiver in Jalen Calhoun. So he's going to the NFL. So you don't know what kind of pieces are going to be there on the offense. Again, you lost your best running back, best wide receiver. Can you replace those? I'm not sure. And I think Murphy, like you said, I think he's a really good quarterback, but what's his supporting cast going to look like? So I say trash.
Yeah, and you obviously lost Riley Leonard. You lost also probably your best defensive lineman, Aeneas Peebles. So, Michael, what you got?
I'd probably have them in the bad tier. I don't think they're. I think if they didn't get Malik Murphy, I think I would have them in trash if they were just rolling out another average transfer QB. But I think he's pretty solid. And Manny Diaz, he'll put a decent defense. Probably not as good as they had last year because they lost so many guys. But I think he'll put a decent defense out there. But yeah, their schedule's tough too. They've got they open the ACC schedule with UNC at home, but then they've got road games at Georgia Tech, at Miami, at State, at Wake, and then they've got Florida State at home. So
that's the problem, is that they really don't have an easy home game in the ACC. You got UNC, Florida State, SMU, and Virginia Tech at home, and and Manny Diaz has a homecoming. He has to go to Miami, go to State, to Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech's no team to sleep on. So, I mean, again, here, what's their win total? I need to.
I would be shocked if it's over 4.
It's over under 6.5 actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So
what's their out? I mean, do they have a pretty easy out of conference then?
It's very easy. Elon, Northwestern, Connecticut, Middle Tennessee. So
that's why they're getting the 6.
Yeah. ACC wise, it's probably 2.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it. I think I'm sticking with trash for now. Greg, are you still with me on it, or are you going with Michael with bad?
Who do I like better, Michael or Leighton?
That's not. Yeah.
I don't think that's how this.
No,
works.
no. I am borderline bad and trash, but I'm gonna stick with trash.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with trash for now too. Yeah. It is good. I like it.
Who's got more money? Who's giving me? Who's got 20?
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next team here, Florida State. I think this is a pretty quick one for the most part. Which, I mean, again, I'm still going to say once again, I'm gonna die on this hill that I am not sold whatsoever on DJ Uyunglele as an elite starting quarterback. He is just not that. There was all those rumors of NC State looking at him. I was like, please God, no. No chance. So I'm not sold whatsoever. But I mean, obviously, you just look at the list. I mean, a former 5-star defensive end transferred from Georgia. Who else? DJ. You got a wide receiver transfer from LSU. You got a Alabama cornerback transfer.
But that's the thing, though. They have so many transfers. So is that cohesion going to be there for this team? That's really my question. And which DJ are you going to get? Are you going to get Clemson DJ? Or are you going to get Oregon State DJ?
which even still is not.
No,
you know,
and exactly.
But
I mean, they couldn't win. And look, the Pac-12 was not a great conference. I mean, they were a decent conference. You had two good teams, and then the rest were not that good. So.
But two things. One, I would say I would make the argument that heading into 2024, they're the most talented ACC roster.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I would also add that is there a little bit of that fire in your gut based off of how last season ended?
Right.
A little bit of watch
something
out,
to prove. Yeah.
Something to prove. Exactly. Even though a lot of these players, weren't there. Like, I mean, everybody saw what happened.
Mike Norvell still wants.
Mike Norvell saw it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, they did lose their top 4 pieces on offense. So can you replace that? And those were probably top 3 round NFL type draft picks. You know what I mean? Like that was NFL talent they lost. And I know they brought people in, but again, is it going to be as simple as plug and play for them?
Right.
We'll see. But So but I think we're all in agreement still, even though we're concerned top tier. Correct?
Yeah. And looking at their schedule too. I mean, their schedule's very easy. They get Clemson, but they get them at home. I mean, they've got Georgia Tech. That's the game they're playing in Ireland. But then BC, Cal, SMU, Duke, Miami, UNC. Oh, they do have Notre Dame, so that one will be a tough one. But that's out of conference. But yeah, in conference, I mean, they should be 8-0 in conference again. I mean,
and again, all you have to do is win the ACC and you're in. So losing to Notre Dame is not going to hurt them.
Right.
Exactly. So, alrighty. So moving on to Georgia Tech. Now second year full-time head coach, Georgia Tech, and a team that honestly is starting to get some swagger back. I'm happy. I'm happy to see it. Just more of it was a tough transition, obviously, from going from a long tenured head coach, running a very unordinary offense in today's day and age, and now finally settling in and finding a guy that is coming a little bit of juice to him, and Georgia Tech that made some noise last year. Pulled off a couple upsets last year. Specifically against Miami in the kneel down game, which is always fun to bring up. So, but again, a team that definitely has some experience and also has some talent to it. So in my opinion, this is going to be my first average team. Just looking at the roster, looking at the transfers, even two here as well. A couple key pieces. Former 4-star wide receiver transfer from Georgia to Georgia Tech, which that's interesting. Like that. So I don't know. What's y'all's thoughts here? My opinion, solid. Can't sleep on them any given weekend.
Yeah,
I'm gonna probably have an unpopular opinion.
Ooh, what you got?
I'm gonna put them in a contender as a dark horse.
Oh, I knew that was going there. Yeah.
And the reason I say that, they only missed it by a game last year, getting the ACC championship.
That's true.
That's
true.
I know exactly where you're going with the button. I'll cut you off from it. They won the games they weren't supposed to win and lost the games they were supposed to win. They were the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team. But, Hayes King had a nice season last year with 27 touchdown passes. And, I like their coach. He, is it Key? Is it Brent Key? Is that their coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked what he's done in the short amount of time that he's been there. Definitely has brought stability to the program. Like I said, unpopular opinion. I haven't looked at the schedule. Maybe if I look at it, maybe my opinion will change.
They were only 5-3 in conference last year, so they wouldn't needed.
But I think that they had won the last game. They would have been. I think they were right there. I thought.
They were. No, they would have needed 2. They would have needed and then a tiebreaker with Louisville because Louisville was 7-1.
Gotcha.
And FSU was undefeated.
Okay.
Well, it is a tough schedule, though. You're going to Ireland to
face
Florida
my
State
thing.
to start off the season.
Yeah, and that's an ACC game
they
too.
Have
so
a hard schedule.
Do they? Yeah.
At Syracuse, at Louisville, Duke at home, at UNC, at Virginia Tech, Miami at home, NC State.
Yeah, I think they should beat Carolina. I think they should beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech at home or an away?
Away at Lane Stadium. So
So
yeah, it's tough.
I'm not giving them that one.
Okay, you guys are talking me off my popular opinion. All right, I'm gonna play them at average. I tried.
You tried. Hey, look, I respect it, Greg. I respect it.
My thing is they were, a Miami kneel down away from not making a bowl game last year.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I said. Like, yeah, they were very Jekyll and Hyde. It was a crazy season. But they were a complete meltdown away from beating Louisville.
That too, yeah.
Good point.
So it kind of works both ways, right? The football guys take it and give it away.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, so go ahead, Michael, please.
Well, I think they will be an average team, but I think their schedule is really tough. That they may end the season 5-7, but they could still be a decent team. I just think their schedule that's a tough one.
I agree there. All right, so and then our last team we'll talk about here for this part is Pitt.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah, Pitt's interesting. And by the way, too, I forgot to mention Georgia Tech right now is win totals over under 5.5 wins, with the under being a little bit more juiced.
Yeah, so there's the 5-7 that Michael was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Pitt's over under 5.5 wins, with the over being a little bit juiced. So
Pitt's 5.
Pitt's over under 5.5 with the over being a little juiced. So, looking at transfers wise, quarterback transfer from Alabama, Eli Holstein, freshman. So I guess more likely presumptive starter, I would guess, a transfer from Alabama. I'd be shocked if he's not the presumptive starter. And let's see, looking at here as well, transfer from Clemson, defensive end, Kansas State edge. But looking at what they lost, not too much. One of their big tight end guys in Carter Johnson, who was a redshirt senior, transferred out of Pitt, so definitely a lost weapon there. But I feel like with Pat Narduzzi, sorry, am I saying his name right?
You got it.
Am I saying Narduzzi?
Narduzzi, Pat Narduzzi. Yep, sorry, Pat Narduzzi. I feel like averages is just that's kind of what you get from Pitt. I feel like they're never too down, but they're never too up. But also they had a rough year last year, so I expect a little bit of a bounce back this year. But
yeah, I mean they won the ACC in 2022 and then go 3-9 in 2023. So
they had a lot of injuries though last year,
and they were the only ACC team to beat Louisville too. So it was a strange year. I think Pat Narduzzi is closer to the 2022 season than the 2023 season, like normally. I probably have them in the average category. Their schedule's not too hard, but yeah, I don't know what their roster's going to look like. I don't think their QB situation is great. So
yeah, their out of conference schedule is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and kind of now, fortunately for us, now that we've started this list a little bit, I'm kind of looking at them a little bit compared to the other teams that we have in those categories. A little bit. Yeah. I know. I don't know if that's necessarily right or wrong, but obviously, I feel like it's fair to kind of compare it a little bit. And so if I'm looking at them against Georgia Tech compared to Boston College and Cal, Pat Narduzzi's been there. He's been there a while. He's shown proven success over the years. His schedule's, I think, a little bit easier than the others as well. So yeah, I think that's fair putting him in average with the track record Narduzzi has, with the upside that he could have in some of the guys he got in the transfer portal, and the fact that the schedule's not that bad.
Yeah,
I think average is fair for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that was really bad on offense. They got a new offensive coordinator coming in from Western Carolina. They got a quarterback transfer from Alabama. They were dead last in points in the ACC. So, are they going to improve on that? It's hard to win a ball game if you can't score. I think they only averaged around 20 points a game last year.
Yeah.
I kind of have them on the bad to average. A lot of these are I'm fringe on average, but I don't know.
Most teams end up close to average anyway. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And they are in the coastal, so.
I don't know if that was a dig or. I'm actually.
It's always a good time for a dig at the coastal.
Yeah, for sure,
right?
for sure. I until they prove me otherwise, like they've kind of been on a downward trend since that ACC championship. I'm gonna lean bad. I just don't know. And I kind of when I always think of, and we'll talk about it when we get to state too. When you bring a lot of transfers in, my thing is are they going to mesh? Like, are they going to pick up concepts of what you're trying to do? You know, just because they flourished in one system, that doesn't mean they're going to flourish in yours. So sure. I'm gonna lean bad for Pitt.
Okay, Michael, and I'm gonna say this right now. Actually, that after talking to Greg, I could be convinced bad, honestly. So unless you are dead sound average.
No, I just think.
Am I gonna win one here?
I think that their schedule they'll end up average, but
yeah, you know, that's the only thing that would make them average because they're out of conference. I mean, they're probably gonna go 3-1, maybe 4-0 on the out of conference, so then you only got to win 3 more games to be quote unquote average, or 2 more games to be average.
Yeah.
Well, and just for those listening or watching, just a reminder, their AC schedules at UNC, Cal at home, Syracuse at home, at SMU, Virginia at home, Clemson at home, at Louisville, at Boston College. So nothing screams like whoa. That's that's kind of my thing. It's just not that difficult of a schedule. So So okay. So I think for now we'll settle them at average.
So close. I was so close to winning one.
I know you were, man. I know. It was a good effort.
Well, you got plenty
but anyway, Wolfpack Nation, that will wrap up part 1 here. We will pick up with the rest of the ACC teams here in part 2. Make sure if you haven't already, y'all, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you enjoyed this conversation, if you want more of it, let us know down in the comments, and make sure to leave a like and give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all, at Tuffy Talk Now. God bless you, everybody, and we'll see y'all soon, and go Pack.